This isn't a time to throw up our hands. It's time to roll up our sleeves. And only when it's dark enough can you see the stars. That was a concession speech for the ages. I think you could tell she had been crying, and you could see how much she was hurting. The pain in her eyes reflected the pain in this country, at least for some of us. I wanted to wait until her concession speech because that was going to influence what I wanted to say, because the math ain't mathin'. But I'm not a political strategist, so I will watch and I will learn and I will listen, but it doesn't make sense. It's my dog. It doesn't make sense, does it? It doesn't make sense. But I'll be the first to admit that I understand how racist and misogynistic this country is. Because I, as a white woman who was raised in that white Christian nationalism mentality and indoctrination, it's hard to break. Especially if you don't want to. Especially if your entitlement and your superiority feels like a warm, comfy blanket that you wrap up in every night. You don't want to give that away. You don't want to share it with anybody. And I saw story after story of pastors these past few weeks who were getting up and just walking that line of that separation of church and state because they know how to do it. I watched Joyce Meyer's husband do it for years. Remember, if she was in a tri-state area, I went to see her, and her husband, Dave Meyer, got up and talked about how our country was turning to the dark and it was poisoned as he showed burning flags and pride parades. We knew what he meant without him saying a word. So when that mega pastor from, of all places, Saddleback Christian Church, you know the one that got kicked out of the Southern Baptist Convention this year because they're so progressive, because they're ordaining women now, and you have that mentality that they're progressive. Let me tell you what. Inside those churches, they are all MAGA. And one of his pastors got up and preached a sermon just 2 weeks ago. You can go look it up. I'm not taking the time today to do any sound bites or any green screens. And he said, make sure you vote for the godly candidate. Make sure you vote for the one who will protect the babies. Because that whole abortion trope started in the 70s, and we're not going to talk about that now either. If you want to learn anything and you haven't seen it yet, go watch Bad Faith, go read Bad Faith. It's all there. If you're ready to deconstruct, if you're ready and willing to let go of your superiority and the privilege and the comfort it gives you. And when you don't, we end up with a tyrant leading us. Now, I'll say once again that the math ain't mathin'. Something's off. Something doesn't make sense. And anything that Peter Thiel or Elon Musk is involved in, it's corrupt AF. Because we already know what Trump is. And you who voted for him already know what he is, but you don't care. Because he gives you the privilege that you feel you're entitled to. And you're not willing to share. Because you think human rights is a pie. So we're not going to throw up our hands. We're going to roll up our sleeves. This is not the end. This is the beginning. We have work to do, people to protect, and lives to save. Today we grieve. Tomorrow we work.